Mickey Mouse anything to discredit a dominant performance in the postseason always has been the selective narrative when it came to big teams expected to do well, but they don't seem to live up to the expectation. People can comprise that for a bunch of teams in the NBA. People could say that for the Los Angeles Lakers in the bubble championship. People could say that for the Golden State Warriors when they got Kevin Durant, got an easy ride to gentleman sweep the Cleveland Cavaliers, while LeBron James was with a stagnating squad. Then Kyrie Irving left the next year to make the Cavaliers more insufficient of a team. So it was kind of expected. But depicting over the scenario that we got, I would say the Boston Celtics pretty much deserved it. Thanks, they've been with only one depleting injury over on the roster involving Kristaps Porzingis, and they still got dependable situations. So I think the MVP of this postseason for the Celtics have been, of course, Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown has been worth the money he's been given over his 5-year, $300 million contract extension with the Boston Celtics. He was amazing this postseason, especially over his series he had against the Cleveland Cavaliers. That game-saving shot over in Game 1 to push it over to overtime to save over against the Indiana Pacers. Have been aggressive around the floor when their pseudo number one option has not come to precede expectations. And that's coming out of Game 5, his worst performance, but that was just off the rotation. And he played over 41 points per game off 11. There was barely a game where he didn't drop over, where he went over 23 points over this entire series. 26 points off Game 1, then exceeded expectations off a 40-point performance off playing less time. Off the game scored, off the worst efficiency. While performing off the total dribbles he's been good off distribution. His shot selecting has gotten better. I know people critiqued over his ball handling being a major issue, but no one can stop him around attacking the rim. And the reason why his left was even pushed over to question, because he was facing off against a defensively disciplined Miami Heat squad that was depleted off injuries over in the first round, but they still performed better, even though people can even deplete the Mickey Mouse run that the 8th seed Miami Heat had from last season when they lost one of their primary scorers out of Tyler Hero. So we can't just depict it all because you missed a team. Yes, the impact would have been better, but still, your team got to perform well to even produce it. And if they lost to the injury-riddled teams, what could have been said? I'm still not going to accept that choke slam he gave over to frickin' T.J. McConnell over in Game 4 when he was trying to grab a board. Then he just open palm slapped him onto the face, flat on his back, down for the 3 count. Like, it's insane. Jaylen Brown is well-deserved for the amount of praise for what he's been given. And now I understand completely. He's been more headstrong. He takes his opportunities when he needs it. He's been in more game-breaking situations where he's been highly more efficient, more dependent around the 3 ball. Great, instead of using ISO situations, nobody's stopping him around the rim. And in my opinion, he should be the guy that the Celtics should be building around instead of Jason Tatum. That I feel like is a good complementary piece over his offensive scoring. And he's still over the prime age of his career while being one of the highly dependable defensive two-way all-star scorers on this very stacked Celtics team that's kind of had a dominant road, but we keep forgetting one major contributing piece here. They are first seed. They are a first seed. It's expected that they would beat the 8th seed below 4 to 5 games. And this is coming out of when this is a better playoff run than had they had in the Eastern Conference Final, when they could barely even handle Atlanta Hawks squad that were coming from the play-in. For the Celtics fan base, I think they're just expecting championship or bust in this dependable situation. They have the highest amount of depth. They have the best record in the league. They're less injury riddled than usual. Their rotation players lack a bit defensively, and there's certain games where they kind of fall off the mark when it comes to keeping over on major deficit, but they still close out when they need to. And I feel like to the lack of strength because of a lot of injuries, Tyrese Halliburton was kind of lost over the middle of the series. Jalen Brunson, Jalen Brunson was still playing hurt, while Julius Randle, a major offensive contributing piece, OG Anunoby still recovering. A lot of contributing factors, especially Donovan Mitchell was out during their playoff run. But still, I think majority of the conversation would expect the Celtics to kind of cruise through the teams, except the Eastern Conference Final, where they probably might win by 6 or 5, and make it to the NBA Finals to probably face against either the Denver Nuggets or the Minnesota Timberwolves, now the Dallas Mavericks, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Not the fucking Lakers. If they're going to make a play and you guys think, because they got 40-year-old LeBron James, it means he's going to hard carry himself into getting gentlemen swept by the Denver Nuggets. I think there's way too much high expectations on the Nuggets fan base. This is why the situation they have over the coaching staff, because you don't know what you guys want, in my opinion. But, yeah, I'm not going to just coincide that the Celtics have a Mickey Mouse run because they're doing what is expected of them. And they have the most postseason experience that the Cavaliers haven't gotten since having LeBron James. The Knicks are finally building over their squad to be an actual continuing postseason team with a couple pieces away from making it possibly to a conference finals appearance that they haven't had since 2000. Cavaliers kind of in a no man's land but still competitive. The Sixers are probably a couple hard decisions away from trying to actually get themselves into the conversation. And the rest of the Eastern Conference is kind of dog shit, in my opinion. But besides that, like, there's nothing to excuse over why the Celtics possibly couldn't make it to the NBA Finals, and now they just won convincingly over a decisive moment over to the game from Nembhard missing that game-winning shot to put it over to overtime. And you guys gotta thank Jaylen Brown for this. Outstanding player. The rest of the team been defensively sound and adapted when they were trailing and didn't let the game collapse to let the other team go by them. You've seen plenty of teams that even had 2-0 leads around the postseason, like the Knicks, that just couldn't capitalize when the game was won. And you saw how the Pacers capitalized and they were shooting more efficiently. And the Pacers are another team that are probably just a piece away or making some hard decisions to possibly push over farther to finally get them into the conversation of finally being that franchise that they should have been. So, it's good. It would be nice to see, I guess, for the Celtics fan base, to be honest. I hope whoever comes out of that Western Conference Final, that's probably going to be the Mavs. They have a 3-0 lead. And the Timberwolves look like they've just been overall exhilarated, just relying too much over on Karl Anthony Towns to be the all-around offensive factor. And you can see off his shooting splits, they've radically declined. While they really took advantage of the lack of depth on the squad. I think losing Bruce Brown was a massive mistake for the Denver Nuggets, because you had a rotational finisher that can do very well without asking a lot of them to take over the pressure away from Nikola Jokic. So there's the conversation right there. But the Mavs and Celtics possibly would have a lot of hidden narratives, knowing that if Luka Doncic can finally be the face of the NBA, or the Celtics can finally get that hump off their back about just being just always a roster away from always getting there. Knowing how many times they've made, I think 7 Western Conference Finals trips, especially their time when they had Isaiah Thomas. They've been overall 50 games or higher in the win shares. Always with all NBA depth. They came from Udoka, that made a finals appearance to now Joe Mazzulla that's finally made his a finals appearance after just a season away after Udoka's firing after some controversies, staying loyal in the workplace. Usually, you need tampering for that type of shit. But besides that, congratulations to the Celtics. I'm not gonna rag on anybody's parade, all because their team didn't make it. There's like a different type of hater that I'm just not. So that's it for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. It's still dancing Tatum if the Celtics lose. And if the Mavs lose, I don't know. There's at least step over in the right direction that they have the squad for, and I feel like they've been the most unsung heroes. I think a lot of production came off the Mavs making it. If they do, I expect a 5-game series out of this Mavs Timberwolves game. But seeing the inefficiency of Karl Anthony goddamn Towns, the name CAT isn't an acronym. It signifies that he's a pussy on the court. I swear, if you guys did not see his shooting splits, everybody's ragging on Anthony Edwards. Yes, I know that he's the prescribed leader on the squad. I get it. We're 3 games into the series. This nigga has not shot above 35% from 3 this entire series. He hasn't even shot above 25% over the last 5 since the Denver Nuggets series. He's been more of a contributing piece on the defensive front. I get it. But it's like, all you do is shoot. You barely attack unless it's second chance buckets. And you go 0 for 8? And you're the second best offensive player on the team? I think we gotta stop ragging. I'm being dead ass with you. I'm being dead ass. The last person you should be upset over was Anthony Edwards, because he's been openly aggressive for displaying over that confidence to even get Karl Anthony Towns to at least scoring over a high level, or at least being more aggressive. But I feel like I haven't seen that since Game 2 against the Denver Nuggets. Come on. It's just overrated. Everybody talking about a Julius Randle trade away. We're a Karl Anthony Towns trade away for the Timberwolves actually finally making a franchise out of themselves. God. Well, that's it from this video. Comment down below how you expect possibly the NBA Finals to go, the Western Conference Final to go. If you still think there's some dog left into the Timberwolves series against the Dallas Mavericks. And how you guys feel about the playoff run for the Boston Celtics all the way to the NBA Finals. That's it for me. Like, comment, subscribe for more. This is the DST Show.